Yo, what's up, everybody? Another episode of the Rap or Cap Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, the Young OG. That's Rap or Cap Podcast, RAPORCAP Podcast. And for sure, if you don't know how to spell podcast, this episode right now is not for you. Oh man, it's about to get real controversial in here, y'all. So it's the first sports topic. Won't be the last. For sure, gonna have a lot more since the NBA is back. The bubble won't be in effect, and things have normalized from a lot of other things that were going on in the world. And I feel like this is being as is this December, you know what I'm saying? It's a nice little break time for everybody from the relationship and the real life stuff. Like, just another episode for my dogs, my fellas, you know what I'm saying, who really like sports, particularly basketball, and even for the females who are really into sports. But I'm about to say something, and I'm about to talk about something that y'all probably don't want to hear, and y'all might not agree on. But I'm gonna let y'all decide if I'm rapping or capping. So, topic of the day, without further ado, James Harden versus Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony versus James Harden. Who's better? That's the question. Mellow dramatic pause, but yeah. We gonna have to address it, man, because personally I feel like James Harden is gonna be remembered more than Melo. He's higher on the all-time list in general. Top 50 players all time, James Harden is on that list. Higher than Melo. For multiple reasons. And we're gonna acknowledge that neither one of them have won championships. James Harden is still playing, Melo is still playing, but unless Melo goes to the Lakers or the Bucks make some type of move or anything like that, or he goes to the Clippers, I don't foresee Melo really getting a ring. And unless James Harden makes it work with Russ, or he makes it work with some other superstar that comes to Houston, I don't see him winning a championship either. So we're just going to acknowledge that, and also that they're both first ballot Hall of Famers off the rip. Like, there's no discussion at all about that. Melo's the better college player. He won a championship at Syracuse, played 1 year there as the only freshman to lead a team to a championship. And James Harden, he had to grow and develop. And of course, Melo's the better Olympian, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about prime versus prime. Who do you want to build a team with? If you were in the finals, who do you want? Melo is probably more clutch, which is true. Melo's probably more clutch, and it's not probably, it is. He's more clutch. But the real discussion is who's the better scorer, because the first thing people want to say is Melo is the better scorer. And they say it so emphatically, and they say it so nonchalantly, like it's a no-brainer. And I don't think that's true at all. I think Melo may have a more well-rounded offensive game, but when it comes to putting the ball in the basket, James Harden has that down pat. Period. And I'm gonna start off before I even get into the scoring. I want to start off by just listing some accolades. We're gonna start with Melo first. So Melo's a 10-time NBA All-Star. He's a 2-time All-NBA second team. He's never made the first team. He's a 4-time All-NBA third team. He's only been a scoring champ one time in 2013. He's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. He's been in the Olympics, 4 years? So 3 out of 4, that's really great. He's an Olympic bronze medalist in 2004. It's the last time the USA basketball team won anything but gold. Well, I lied. Since 2020. Or since 2016, Wait, did they win in 2016? I'm thinking about FIBA. Or am I thinking about it? Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. So, he's the all-time leading scorer in Olympic basketball history. Impressive. Impressive. But now let me give you James Harden's accolades. These are just the major ones. I'm not talking about Melo's the only person with this. Like, we're not going to get into all that because I could research for days for both of them. They're both two historically great players and two of the greatest scorers of all time. James Harden, he's a league MVP, 8-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA first team. He's only made the All-NBA third team once, and that was his first year in Houston. Ever since his first year in Houston, he's been All-NBA first team besides when he was injured. He's a 3-time scoring champ, and he's one of the only players to win the scoring title 3 years in a row. Only 8 players have done that. And that list includes Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant, George Gervin, and Wilt Chamberlain, and others. He was the assist leader 2017. He was the 6th man of the year 2012 when he played in OKC, the only year that he's been to the finals. And he's an Olympic gold medalist in 2012. That list is way more prestigious than Melo's. Way more prestigious. And it's not a knock on Melo, but it shows you the different calibers of players. Now, back to the scoring. We all say, oh, Melo's the better scorer. Like, there's this myth around Melo that he is this, or legend around Melo, that he's this phenomenon when it comes to scoring the basketball, and he is. But James Harden is revolutionary at scoring the basketball. And yes, I can name about 5, 6 people better at scoring the ball than James Harden, but I can name 10 better at scoring the ball than Melo. 10. And I'm not exaggerating. I'll leave the 10 for whoever wants to come up here and do a rebuttal on this because I know I'm going to get kickback. So, let's really, really, really look at this when it comes to scoring. And I got my notes right here. I'm ready to do this. Like, whoever wants to go there, we can go there. So, first and foremost, Melo's game high is 62, and he did it against the Bobcats. And they blew them out by 30. So, his stat line was 62 points. 62 points. That's amazing. Anytime you score 60 is amazing. 13 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 turnovers. That's amazing. Shot 65% from the field, 54% from 3. That's amazing. Was plus 34 for a plus minus for all those who follow advanced stats. But no assists, no steals, no blocks. No turnovers is amazing. But no assists, no steals, no blocks. So outside of getting the rebound, Melo is literally shooting. He shot 35 times, made 23 out of them. He's jacking. You're not getting blocks. You're not getting steals. You're not getting assists if Melo's hot. This is his best game, or I should say this is his highest scoring game ever. James Harden's highest scoring game is, I believe, 62 points in a win against the Bobcats as well. No, I'm sorry. 61 points against the Spurs. 61. 61 points. He's done that twice. And he did it against the Knicks. And I'm not even going to read his stat line because I have this stat for all you basketball gurus out there. James Harden has the franchise record for the Houston Rockets for most points in a game. The last person to score more than 57 points for the Rockets was Calvin Murphy in 1978. over 30 years ago. James Harden has scored 60 points. 60. 60. 4 different times. He's scoring 50 or more 19 times. 19 times. Melo has scored over 50 4 times. He's scoring over 60 1 time. And all the times that he's dropped 50, it's been dead 50. 50 in 09, 50 in 2010, and 50 in 2012. And he wins when Melo drops 50 or more, they win. 3 out of 4 times. When James Harden gets 60, they win every time. 4 for 4. When James Harden drops 50, they win the majority of the time. There's only been 6 times James Harden has dropped 50, and they lose. Out of 19 times. 19. That's phenomenal. Now back to James Harden, this James Harden stat that I really want to give you. Like I said, he has the franchise record for most points in a game. Calvin Murphy has the second all-time record with 57 points in 1978, 30 years ago. And James Harden is the first to have this line. He had a 60-point game, 11 assists, 10 rebounds, 4 steals, 1 block. 1 block, 4 steals, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. He had a 60-point triple-double in a win. He shot 63% from the field, 35% from 3, and 94% from the free throw line. Think about that. 94% from the free throw line. Melo had no free throws during his game. No free throws, no assists, no steals, no blocks. Rebounds and points. That's what Melo is giving you. So, why are we so quick to jump on Melo? We've never seen a 60-point triple-double. It hasn't been done. Besides by James Harden. He's a unicorn when it comes to scoring. And yes, analytics play a part in it. Yeah, they run their offense and their team through analytics. That's Daryl Morey. But the fact that Harden is being used this way and he's still, y'all, like, it's really hard for me to do this because I really love Melo as a player. But James Harden has averaged 30 the last 3 seasons, and ever since he's left OKC, he hasn't averaged less than 25. Are you serious? James Harden's scoring average for his career is more than Melo's. I think Melo averages 22. James averages 25, 26. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And to really sit back and compare their careers, like I said, neither one of them have really won. But both of them are scoring machines that you can't stop. You can't stop neither one of them. It doesn't matter who you choose in this debate. You can't stop either one of them. But their scoring averages, like, it's just amazing to me. Like, we really sit back and say that Melo is the better scorer, but James Harden is putting up legendary numbers that have never been seen. And they lead to winning. They lead to winning. So I thought this was very interesting when I did my research, and I was really comparing both of these superstars. Melo's not a superstar anymore, but he was a superstar. It's really baffling to know that I did know this, but to be reminded that Melo has only been to the Western Conference Finals one time. Melo has only been to the Western Conference Finals or any conference finals one time. One time. So, as much as we say I take Melo because Melo is clutch, you're not going to get to those moments. You're not. James Harden, ever since he has left Houston, they've been a playoff team. And they've only gone out in the first round. Let's see. Houston now, not OKC, but Houston James Harden has only gone out in the first round. Never. Oh, 2016, I'm sorry. When they faced Golden State. That's the only time. He's been kicked out the first round. In the first round one time. But Melo's been kicked out the first round multiple times. And we can sit here and debate about teams all day long. James Harden has more pull on his team because he has the knack for passing. And Melo can pass. And that's one of the most underrated qualities Melo has, is that he's a great passer. He's a phenomenal passer. But he does not pass. When you see him play with USA basketball, it's like, wow, Melo fits seamlessly because he's made the number one option. He's playing with someone like LeBron. Generational type passer. Jason Kidd in 08. Generational type passer. And everyone else around him knows, yes, we don't need to score. Melo is a gifted scorer. You have and just to make sure you guys know, if you don't know, Kobe was on 2 of these Olympic teams that Melo played on. KD was on 1 of these Olympic teams. Actually, 2 of these Olympic teams that Melo played on. Kyrie was on 1. Dwayne Wade was on 1. LeBron James was on 2. Dwight Howard, Chris Bosh, Michael Redd. Think about that. Darren Williams, Chris Paul, Kevin Love. Really sit there. These are league MVPs. These are NBA All-Stars. You have on your roster passing you the ball to be the number one option. That's amazing. James Harden was on 1 of these. That's amazing. Russell Westbrook was on 1 of these. That's amazing. But Melo has to be the number one guy with facilitators around him. That's why he's only been to the Western Conference Finals 1 time. And that was with who? Chauncey Billups. One of the best leaders the NBA has ever seen. NBA Finals MVP in 2004 against the Lakers. Phenomenal, traditional point guard. Melo's never played with anybody. And then the year after, they get rid of Chauncey. Amazing. And Melo had help. Let's not sit here and act like, okay, yeah, Melo never had help. He always needed more help, but he's had help. He played with Allen Iverson for 2 seasons. Who's Allen Iverson to us? He's only an NBA legend, a cultural legend, league MVP, 20-point per game scorer. At that time, he was still too. At the back end of his prime, but in his prime nonetheless. and they go out in the second round or in the first round. Ever since, and I'm not even going to count OKC because I know people are going to be like, he had Kevin Durant, he had Russ, he has Serge Ibaka, he had all these people, but James Harden has been to the Western Conference Finals twice. Lost to Golden State, 7 games, and lost to Golden State in 6 games. It's been to the semifinals all the other times but one time. Melo's only been to the second round twice. Lost against the Pacers in 7 games in, I believe, 2013. Yep. And that's it. That's it. Melo's lost in the first round. Well, folks, he hasn't been to the playoffs with him carrying a team since 2013. 2018, he makes the playoffs with OKC. When they have Paul George and Russell Westbrook, they get beat in the first round. And beat soundly to the fact where they couldn't even play Melo in games because he was a mismatch. He couldn't guard anybody. You never had to say, I cannot play James Harden because he's a mismatch for anybody. And because you can say that about Melo, that diminishes your argument about scoring. Because if James Harden was such a mismatch, they would have to take him out and switch him out. But he's such a dynamic and prolific scorer that it does not matter if he can't guard somebody or if there's a mismatch, because he's going to make it up on the other end. The other guy might give him 30, but he's going to give them 50. He's given people 50 19 times. He's given people 60 4 times. And the key thing in the scoring piece is James Harden isn't putting up empty numbers. They're full. They're full. When he scores 60, they win 100% of the time. Think about that. Knowing that if I score 60 tonight, we're going to win, and there's no doubt about it, and we're not winning by 2. We're not winning by 2. That's incredible. And when he scores 50, they win 68% of the time. Now, that's not average. If we want to put average at 75%, that's a little bit below average, but that's well above over half your games. When the other guy's only scoring 50 4 times and 61 times. Or, 53 times. And Melo, they are probably going to lose in the playoffs this year, if I'm being honest. If Portland gets into the playoffs, they will lose because the number 1 seed are the Lakers. So, if you think for any reason Portland will beat the Lakers, I'm willing to take all bets, and I would be happy to take your money. And I'm not a gambler, but I would be happy to take your money. Because that would be asinine for you to bet against the Lakers. Especially LeBron and AD. Really sit here and think about it. Melo has only been out the first round twice. In 2009 against the Lakers, who went on to win the championship. I do not hold that against Melo. That Lakers team was stacked. Kobe Bryant, Derek Fisher, Andrew Bynum, Pau Gasol, Trevor Ariza. Great team. Lamar Odom. But 2004, sweep. 2005, gentleman's sweep. 2006, gentleman's sweep. 2007, gentleman sweep. 2008, sweep. The Lakers went on to win the championship or went on to go to the finals that year. 2009, Western Conference Finals, they lose in 6. 2010, they lose in 6. First round. 2011, when he's on the Knicks, they lose and get swept by Boston. 2012, gentleman sweep. 2013, like I said, they make the semifinals and take the Indiana Pacers to 7 games. Indiana Pacers go on to lose to the Heat in 6 or 7 games the next round. 2018, he makes the playoffs and they lose to the Jazz in 6 games. And now they will probably play the Lakers and lose in 5 games. All that counts against Melo. Neither one of them are taking you to the promised land, but I would rather have the guy that gets me winning seasons continuously over and over and over again, and I have a shot to win. And yes, James Harden has had struggles in the playoffs, and yes, he's significantly a little less of himself than he is in a regular season, because teams have time to prepare for him, they have time to double him, and he just does not make as many shots as he does in the regular season. But you do not get to 7 games with the Golden State Warriors by being totally awful. You don't. If you have Melo as your number one option, you don't even get there. You don't get 7 games. That's what history tells you. You don't get 7 games, and sometimes you can't even get a game from Melo. Multiple sweeps. Multiple sweeps. 3 sweeps. 4 gentlemen sweeps, which is just 5 games. And I don't know how much that makes a difference. And they're probably gonna get gentlemen swept in the playoffs against the Lakers. Melo has 26 wins in the playoffs, 46 losses. 46 losses. And like I said, neither one of them has won a championship. But James Harden has 62 wins. 62 wins. 54 losses. And he's not won a championship. Which tells me you're going to be in a better off position with James Harden at the forefront of your team than you are at Melo at the forefront. Doesn't mean Melo isn't a number one option. He's just not going to help you in winning situations as the number one option. Melo's a number 2 option. He's a superstar, but there's an asterisk next to it. He's on that in-between tier between 4 and 5. 5 being superstar MVP caliber, can lead your team to the promised land, and 4 is like a tweener, like 4.5 is like a tweener. It's like, yeah, you could, but you definitely need a certain specific specialist, and you need another all-star with you. Folks, this is not Melo slander at anything at all. But the reality is, James Harden is the better player. You win more. Neither one of them are super efficient. Neither one of them are. Neither one of them shot 50% from the field ever in their career. Both of them barely shoot 40%, and they've only done it a couple times in their career. They're not super efficient guys. They just know how to put the ball in the rim, and they're high volume scorers. So they take a lot of shots and they score a lot of points. The less shots you give them, the less efficient they're going to be, and the less points they're going to score. The difference is James Harden will shoot 3 for 14 and still have 17, 20 points because he's going to the free throw line. Melo will shoot himself out the game and will only get to the free throw line twice. Or 3 times. Either way, he has to make all of those to even get 10 points. So, the thing is, we cannot even say that Melo is a better scorer than James Harden because he's never even averaged 30 points per game in his career. Never. His highest average was 28.9 points per game in the 2006-2007 season. Think about that. Really sit here and think about that. That's his 4th year in the league. He's never averaged more than 28.9 points per game. Not 2011 Melo, not 2012 Melo, who stole a vote from LeBron James, keeping him from being the first unanimous MVP before Steph. Not that Melo. Not the 2 prime years in New York Melo. Not the last 2-3 prime years in Denver, 2009 and 2010. And if you want to add 2008, you can add that in there too. Not that Carmelo. Early Carmelo. Still arguable if he was in his prime Melo. Just think about that. Think about that. So we're talking about who's the better player. Who's better skilled? It's James Harden. Passing, rebounding, assists. Who? He can give it to you any way you want. You want me to go rebound? Okay, cool. James Harden is a 6'6" guard, 6'7" guard. Melo's 6'8". About the same height. One has a little bit more weight than the other one. And yet James Harden is still snagging you 10 rebounds. Triple doubles left and right. And Melo is giving you 62 points and 13 rebounds, no assists. He's not making anybody better, but he's going to give you a bucket. I mean, that's what he does. And yeah, I know people are going to look and they're going to say, oh, well, Melo grabs 6.5 rebounds per game and James Harden grabs 5.3. But you see how close that is. Do you see how close that is? And in OKC, James Harden never averaged over 4 rebounds per game. But when he leaves OKC, his rebounds go up by 1 or 2. It varies every year. He averaged 8.1 rebounds in 2017. Now, the same year he led the league in assists with 11.2. It's ridiculous. This argument is ridiculous. James Harden should be higher on the scoring list than Melo. Not points, because he has to score those points to reach where Melo is, but in the culture. James Harden is a better scorer than Melo. Oh, he's flopping. He's smart. Any crafty basketball player knows when I drive to the hole, if I can get under someone, I'm most likely going to get a foul. Because that means if I'm under you, your hands aren't up and the ref can't see what you're doing. So most likely you're going to get that foul called. Oh, James Harden pushes off. Every NBA player pushes off. Every single one of them, especially Melo. So like I said, who is the more skilled player? It's James Harden. He's giving you assists. He's giving you rebounds. He's giving you steals. He's giving you blocks. For all those who say James Harden plays no defense, he plays more than Melo. And that's never been questioned. Melo has never been interested in defense. And Melo is probably one of the most gifted players the NBA has ever seen. And now that James Harden has even bought in a smidge, he's far beyond a better defender than Melo was in his prime. Look at the matchups. Look at when Bron and Melo used to go head to head. Look at when Bron or Melo and Wade used to go head to head. Melo and Kobe. Melo is getting ticky tack fouls. They're not contact fouls. They're not I'm going to the rim and I'm challenging you and yeah, I got the foul. They're undisciplined reaching hand checking fouls. James Harden is getting, oh yeah, well, I'll wait until you try to dribble around me and I'll poke the ball from behind you and I may get a foul, I may not. But most of the time, he's getting post-ups on him because people think he can't guard and that he's not strong up top. They're not undisciplined fouls. They're not ticky-tack lazy fouls. They're legit. And not every foul James Harden does is legit. But that's the difference. Look at their history. Look at the pattern. James Harden is a better dribbler. He's a better passer. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And like I said, some of y'all are gonna argue that Melo is the better rebounder by one, and that's arguable. It's very arguable. Oh yeah, Melo's gonna give me rebounds. I don't care. I don't care. At the end of the day, if I lose one rebound, I'm not gonna die. Because that's really the difference between them is one rebound. I'm not gonna die. James Harden gives me more points. He sets his teammates up. He gives me more wins. That's what I care about. It gets me deeper into the playoffs. He gets me in the playoffs. That's what I care about. That's all I care about. And I care about winning. But we know neither one of these players are going to help you to win a championship. James Harden's he can possibly get you there. We haven't seen it yet, but he can get you to the Western Conference Finals. He can put you in a position to almost get there. Melo can't do that. He cannot. And that's just facts. Then you want to move into shooting. Lastly, James Harden is the better shooter. He shoots the three better. He shoots in general better. Melo has a better mid-range because that's Melo's game. Can James Harden shoot the mid-range? Yes. But when it comes to just shooting, pulling, if I need somebody to just pull, I'm taking James Harden. You can argue that, but I'm taking James Harden. And Melo is a phenomenal scorer. He's a phenomenal player. There's no knock on Melo. But put some respect on James Harden's name. He was in the league MVP voting top 3 for the last 3 or 4 years. Melo's only been in the MVP race top 3 twice. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Melo's had gaps in his career in All-Stars. When James Harden left OKC, he hasn't missed an All-Star game. He hasn't missed an All-NBA team besides the year that he was injured. What are we talking about? So, in concluding this episode, y'all take with those stats what you will, but James Harden leads his team further than Melo. You give James Harden less, he can do more. You give Melo less, he does with what he has. He doesn't multiply anything. That's my only thing. James Harden multiplies what you give him. Melo doesn't. And for his career, Melo has never averaged more than 4 assists per game. Think about that. And his career assist is 3 a game. So he's not really setting teammates up He's not orchestrating the offense. Granted, that's not his game. But people would like to say that Kobe Bryant is selfish. He averaged 5 assists a game during in the league. Michael Jordan selfish, a ball hog, 6 assists per game. LeBron James, 8 assists per game. 11 this year. Compared to the all-time greats. Compare him to James Harden, and he does not match up. And that's not a knock, like I said, against Melo. Those are the choices that he chose to make. He focused on himself more, and James Harden focuses on the team more. He is a two-way guard, or not two-way, he's a combo guard, I should say, who can pass like a point guard and score like a two guard. Amazing. Melo's one-dimensional. James Harden is two. Who are you taking? Y'all let me know. It's the Rapper Cap Podcast with your host, Mike the Young OG. You can follow us on Twitter at RAPORCAP Podcast, but remove the T and add the 1. Also follow us on Instagram, Rapper Cap Podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Mike the Young OG, YOUNG, not YOUNG, not YUNG, because we literally around these parts, bro. Like, y'all got to do better. But that's it. I'm signing off. Y'all definitely let me know in the comments if I'm rapping and capping. Peace out.